Firstly, for shame on the Daily Mail for reporting that she had won the race and wrote an entire article on this grand injustice, calling the guy the entire time she. How confusing can that get? Secondly, you've got to ask yourself what amount of narcissism enables any individual to say, I want to be a female, I am now treating myself as a female, everybody else can suck it up, buttercup. All these women who have trained so hard, I don't care about you. I don't care that you're made uncomfortable in your bathrooms. I don't care that you're made uncomfortable in your locker rooms. I don't care that I just thrashed you out of any possibility of going to get a scholarship and maybe attend the uni of your dreams. I don't give a rip, and neither do all these institutions who are happy to trash all those young girls' hopes and dreams as well as their basic human rights in order to entertain the delusions of one young man.
Oregon has got some of the most liberal laws regarding transgender people in all of America. So when it comes to bathrooms, you can use whatever bathroom you identify with per gender. And when it comes to sport in Oregon, you can play whatever sport you personally identify with. And so there's no denying that many of these people have genuine problems. But, I mean, effectively, as you said, Liz, it becomes legalised theft because you're standing on the dais taking the trophy and that particular runner, and it was quite the winning margin.
Oh, well, wasn't it?
He won by a fair length. That was the heat. In the final, he finished second.
Second of 60.
Of 60, yeah. So there's a girl who should have had a silver medal around her neck, but instead that medal is around the neck of this young man who has stolen that opportunity from her so that he can feel better about himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you know, watching that footage, anyone who likes their horse racing will know what I mean when I say that looks like Pride of Jenny winning on the weekend, who was, you know, in front by about 20 lengths or 30 lengths, I think, at one point. It is absurd, particularly, we're talking about teenagers here, right? And the difference in physiology for a biological male, when you start going through puberty, that's the end of it. There are irrevocable changes to your body and your physical makeup that occur during puberty, and that's what this kid is going through at that point in time, and has himself acknowledged. I mean, he's previously talked about the transition that he wants to go through to become a girl, and says, you know, I'm going to get the hormone treatment, etc., because I'm starting to grow facial hair, acknowledging that puberty has begun, and what I want to do is stop the process of this puberty continuing. But because you've gone through puberty, you are already stronger, faster, musclier, etc., than the girls on the field. The fact that you don't have world organisations standing up, because, you know, it's all good and well for Oregon to have its own rules, and the schools can have their own rules and whatever. But ultimately, when you go through the school system or the local club or whatever, it all harks eventually to the global athletics outfit or the global swimming outfit or the global tennis outfit, right? And you need them to put out these edicts that we are not going to allow at a professional level this to occur. And once that happens, it kind of stifles things further down because it has to filter down. It needs to come from the top.
But most of these groups have all signed up to LGBTQ, you know, organisations that then give them a score and publicly rate them on their diversity and inclusion, you know, metrics. And so if there's going to be an end to this, it's got to come not from the top. It's got to be a grassroots movement, does it not? Where people simply say, we are not competing, we are not watching these things, we're not allowing our kids to participate. And only when that happens will it stop. So here's my question to you. Are most people just on board with this and they just think, no, it's fair enough and they don't have a problem? Or are they intimidated and afraid to speak because there's been edicts from on high, if you complain, you'll be outed as a bigot and a, you know, et cetera, et cetera?
I don't think it's that the majority of people believe in it at all.
So why does it keep happening?
The amount of people who do not believe that a male can become a female or vice versa, we are the vast majority because that's just common sense and a biological reality.
Yeah.
What I think is happening is that people are being cowed into silence. And we often say, oh, if only the other women competing would just say, we say as one, we are not competing if a biological male is being included in this competition. That's easy to say, but they are still trying, even if it means I'm going to come second to this guy or third to this guy, they're still trying to qualify for other competitions, some of them for scholarships. They've all got their own hopes and dreams. So even if it's just to get those runs on the board, so then that can go on what we would call a resume, they have a different term for it, in entering interstate competitions or one day the Olympics, maybe, if that's where they want to go. And so they still need to be able to compete in these competitions. Every single sport does it. You've got to be good at state before you get to go to interstate. You've got to get really good at interstate before you go to nationals, and so on and so on and so forth. And so just because you're saying a male is competing in my heat or in my final, I still got to be in it to win it, because then I competed in this competition. This is how I did. It's still a time for me, how well I ran, etc. So we're actually asking them to make a massive sacrifice in order to say, well, actually, we're all saying screw you, and we're pulling the rug out from under your. And that's another reason why even parents aren't rising up and just being like, you're robbing my daughter of her future, because even the daughter is probably just like, please don't, parents. Like, I want to run in this competition and I want to get my times. And as we've seen in certain states in America, that has resulted in the girl who dares to speak out, she's the one that then gets banned from the competition for her bigoted ways. Like that woman recently at a gym in America, her membership got cancelled because she complained, there's a guy in my bathroom and there's a 12-year-old girl in these change rooms with me. She was the one that got booted by the establishment. So it's not that people are coming around to this ideology whatsoever. They can see it for what it is, but they know it will cost them dearly, and not many people are willing or able or can even afford to pay the price.
That's the thing. I mean, it's the same as we talked recently. There was a case of a netballer, I think it was, who had made comments over Easter about the fact that it had been declared, Easter Sunday was declared a day of transgender visibility in the US.
Yes,
and the netballer was told, you've got to take the Instagram post down because it's offensive, etc. And we all said, well, why did they not leave the post up and stick by their principles? Well, it's the same question, right? You've got to maintain an income. You've got to make sure you can keep yourself in a job. And it's the same situation. You can understand why people feel uncomfortable or find it difficult to stand up in that situation because it costs too much to do it. The only way you can change that is to take control of the boards and the controlling bodies. People have to actually stand up and nominate and run and take over these things, because if you don't do that, you won't be able to change the culture.